Welcome back to the Robbins Business Show. Come on in and sit a while. We're going to talk about small business. What are we going to talk about? Anything and everything. Up, down, sideways, back, front. That has to do with the small business arena. There's really no end to the things that we can talk about, that we need to talk about in small business.
That we should talk about, and you better listen.
This is episode 2 of a pair back-to-back, talking about would-be entrepreneurs considering a new business idea, new product, new service, new market arena, whatever the case might be, looking at this up front and being tough on yourself and really being judgmental and focusing in on the pros and cons. I'm Bill Fox, the co-host, but the other co-host, this guy is captivating, and he is magnetic and totally invincible. He's Coach Robbins.
Invincible. That's me.
And Coach, we did episode 1, part 1, and on this feasibility idea, this is would-be entrepreneurs considering a new business idea, and this is tough because we all love to fall in love with our own ideas.
Of course.
But we've got to sit on the other side of the table and be tough on ourselves.
Exactly. Take a look at the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Because the risks of starting new are very high.
The brand new businesses have a high mortality rate, as you say, and I feverishly believe that it has a high mortality rate because people don't do their due diligence up front.
It's failure to be tough up front.
Exactly, and say, why won't this work? Ask that question and figure out, well, if this does, I can tell you why it won't work if you don't get any darn customers, if nobody really wants to give you money for what you're trying to sell. Then it'll be a failure pretty quick.
Coach, I'm going to start you off with what's called the concept test.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell us about this test.
Well, you want to write down what the business concept, or what we call the business model, is. What is it that you're doing that's going to create value to a potential target audience, and what is it that you're going to be able to capture that value and create a business and make money. I mean, that's what a business is all about. You might just be in love with your quilting, but does that mean there's a business there for you to sit and do quilting and sell it online, and you're not going to be the next Amazon? What is the potential market size, and what trying to get a sense, and again, it goes back to get out there and talk to people. Get out there and talk to people. See if they're potential customers. Try to figure out, based on the pizza we talked about in chapter 1,
right.
Is there enough of a demand? Can you create a demand for this thing? And will people come that they feel that is valuable enough for them to give you their money instead of somebody else, And this will help you actually improve your idea. You start off with a basic idea, and you're going to work on it and improve it over time.
And I'll tell you, you have to listen to the coach when the coach talks about the concept statement. Don't take that lightly.
Nope.
It's amazing because our experience is to tell you that they got great ideas in your mind, but it's amazing that when you have to turn and write something down,
Mm-hmm.
is a discipline that separates the sheep from the goats.
Absolutely.
And if you don't know that, learn it now. Committing to a written statement that would be sensible and reasonable and make sense to everybody.
And take that out into the world and see if it flies with the people that you're hoping would become your customers.
Right. And speaking of which, Coach, what about measuring demand?
Well, that's what you're doing. You're measuring. You're looking at the overall market size. I would hope you're looking at, the demand, particularly on a micro level, talking to people and saying, "Would you buy this?" Even if they're not potential customers, if you were a potential customer, would you buy this? Would you come to me and give me $100 for this or $75 for this? What would you pay for this? Doing, I'm not talking about going out and necessarily doing focus groups formally, the way big companies do it, but do it informally at least and go out and talk to people. Find out, do you think this thing would fly in town, or would this thing fly
the
nationally?
magic today, we didn't have this, 10, 20, 30 years ago, the magic of the internet tools, Google AdWords, landing pages and so forth on.
All of that stuff to get out there and query the market, people you don't even know. You'd use your Facebook connections, your LinkedIn connections, to take SurveyMonkey. We do this when we do startup weekends. We do these things, as we've talked about before, do these things called startup weekends where 25, 30 people will come in and pitch their idea,
Right.
and we'll narrow it down to maybe 6 or 8 that are the best ideas, and then for the next 54 straight hours, these teams get together and they work and they go through this viability concept.
And writing it down.
And that's what it's all about, filling out the business model, which, we've talked about before, and writing a business plan and getting out and using SurveyMonkey and talking to their own network about the idea.
Talking to an audience about that
potential
idea.
target customers, get out there and talk to people. I don't want to expose my idea. Well, great, keep it a secret. You'll probably start off in the hole to start with. That's not a good idea.
Well,
Yeah.
you're talking right to the point here, Coach, with this make or break with face-to-face. Talk to us about that. That's what you're...
Well, you're also going to be out there, and I got a basic idea, and I'm talking to my target audience, hopefully, or talking to an audience in general, and I'm going to make changes as I go. I'm going to tweak it. I'm going to fine-tune it a little bit and make it a little bit better. But the bottom line is, if you don't see, like I did with that, what I talked about, a potential for a local little airline just flying 4 or 6 passenger airplanes locally in Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, real small, a lot smaller than Cape Air, and just didn't make any sense financially. People aren't going to pay the kind of money that I would have charged only flying 1 or 2 people. It just didn't make any sense financially. So you drop it.
So will they, face-to-face, will that the person you're speaking to, will that person buy?
Well, they
that
give you
person
their money. Yeah.
break out the wallet and give you a credit card or a check or
And
a
not
cash?
your mother.
And not your mother.
Because your mother, of course, dear, I would buy anything you're selling. Right?
But maybe your idea needs to be tweaked or revised, or maybe it needs to be thrown in the ash can. I'm sorry.
Well, I threw a couple in the ash can because, like I said, I could have made a small fortune. Unfortunately, I would have to start with a much larger fortune. Because I was going to blow money doing it, and it just didn't make any sense to do it. Just a quick aside, Gillette, worked with them 20 years ago on a particular issue, and they had a wonderful 8-step process. Gillette, they make sharp stuff, they make stinky stuff. It ain't exactly the high-tech world, although the razors can get high-tech, but they had an 8-step process to introduce a new product. And they're a very creative company, and each step along the way, they committed more people, more time, more money, and they did feasibility analysis 7 times before they got to step 8,
Yeah.
and step 7 was, if you pass step 7, they were going to invest tens of millions of dollars in the rollout, in the advertising and the promotion for this new product. So they didn't want to get to that step and introduce a dud. So they would kill a project, and they killed a lot of projects along the way as each step became more and more financially viable and also required more money to take it to the next step. We're not suggesting that you need this type of procedure, but basically you need to have some procedure that says, I got an idea, is this going to make me money, and is this a sustainable business? And look at the 4 constructs we're talking about.
Right.
Is it a good idea? Do I have the team? Is it going to make me the money? And is there a demand in the marketplace?
Right.
Right.
And I mentioned a couple of minutes ago what I like to call the power of the internet. It's amazing today. Lots of online tools for your feasibility analysis, Coach.
Absolutely. I mean, we got the team that doesn't even necessarily have to leave the school. we do these things, mostly at universities around southern New England, UMass Dartmouth. We've done a lot at the Advanced Technology and Manufacturing Center, the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. The reason I'm teaching at Mass Maritime, and now so will you, is that I did a startup weekend at Mass Maritime, not with the students, but with people, just coming there, and we used their facility.
Yeah.
And of course, the Admiral saw me doing this thing and said, "Would you like to teach entrepreneurship here?" And I said, "Sure, it might be fun."
And teaching people on the online tools, Google AdWords, landing pages,
Yep.
Founder Suite, Quirky, Crowd Picker, Google, and
SurveyMonkey, StackFlow.
Yeah, all this stuff available as online tools for your analysis.
Absolutely.
And back to the market. Look at the marketplace. The attractiveness of a market coach. Mm-hmm. Here are some ideas that you could be asking yourself. Go ahead, tell us what that is.
Well, I mean, the first thing is, what industry is it, and is it a growing industry? Is it an industry that's on the decline? I mean, you want to go in the buggy whip business? I don't think so. Right. Because cars have taken over in the past 100 years. So is it the industry attractive enough for you to want to be, it doesn't have to be a worldwide national industry. Like I say, it might be something as simple, a little restaurant in the downtown village where you live. And who is the target market? Again, going back to the pizza analysis, segment, target position. You're just trying to make sure that this is an industry that you're going to go into and make some money and have a big enough clientele that it'll support the overhead and what you need to do for numbers. It's all about numbers. It always boils down to numbers. How much can I sell? How much is it going to cost me to do it? And how much am I going to make?
And here are some additional ideas on industry attractiveness.
Yep.
What would be attractive? Tell us about this. Must-have versus want, crowd, sparse, and so forth. Talk to us about these ideas on industry attractiveness.
Well, when you say must-have versus want, there's a difference between a want and a need. And and if you need it, you need it. I mean, quite frankly, it almost is almost immaterial to market of what's going on in the general economic world. I mean, in 2008, when the market really went into a worldwide recession, I mean, people still needed to get their oil changed every few thousand miles, and people still needed to eat, and people still needed certain things. The wants went aside, because people were a little concerned about their jobs, losing their homes. But the stuff that was needed still was needed. So you need to figure out, is this something people need? Or is this something people want? And is the economy, am I getting into this too late? Am I getting it into too early? Am I getting it in at the right time? Timing is always an issue. Right. Is it a concentrated business where only giants compete? And am I going to be able to compete against a giant? Or is it a hugely fragmented industry where I can find a niche and actually get involved with the material? And Michael Porter's, I won't get into Michael Porter's 5 forces, but find out about the rivalry that's going on in a particular industry and who really controls the demand. Is it the customers? Maybe it's the suppliers. Is there a potential for new entrants into this business? Are there potential substitutes for what I'm going to be offering the market? These are the type of things you need to look at to say, I think I've got a good chance of making a successful business.
Or is your business, is it dependent on a scarce material?
Well, exactly. That would be the suppliers who have control.
That should be a very tenuous business.
Exactly. That's where Michael Porter's 5 forces come in, but that's really digging deep into the academics, which I do, of course, in the academic world. But is this something oil? Do you want to get into the oil business? I mean, who controls that? Better take a hard look at that.
Here's some more ideas. This plays off of what you were just telling us. Market attractiveness, too large, too small.
Right.
Good quality market. Is there good quality market information? Competitors. Tell us about that.
Well, I mean, is the market, are there some major competitors in here? And if I can find an area that maybe is not served and get into this business, am I going to be crushed once I come up on a major corporation's radar screen? How do I protect my idea? How do I, create what's known as a barrier to entry to my particular business or market area? Can I come up with a new product and actually patent it and have the exclusive right to sell this thing for the next 20 years? I mean, that's one way to protect your market. It's a big market, it's a huge market. I can patent it, or I can keep a trade secret and get into a business. And trade secrets, they're tough today because everything can be reverse engineered.
Right.
Even the 14 secret spices of KFC and the Coca-Cola formula in the safe. I mean, anybody can, do the chemical analysis in today's
Well, I
world.
think that's one thing I want you to warn new business people about is I've got a patent.
Good.
Okay, great.
Yep.
You got as a matter of fact, when entrepreneurs are trying to raise money, a typical question would be, is your idea patented?
Yes.
I'll tell you one thing, is pepperoni pizza is not patented.
It's not patentable.
But
Right.
but even if it were, the minute you patent that, somebody's going to put 6 pieces of pepperoni instead of 5,
And
you're dead.
Well, design patents, we talk about the difference, it gets into a different area, but design patents and utility patents, big difference in the claims you're going to make in that area. But but how are you going to protect your business? Naturally, if it's something as simple as opening a little restaurant in a downtown village that caters to a particular food type or service, well, that's the market. People aren't going to drive from LA to Marion.
Finding the right market or the market niche to compete in would be a lot more important than that patent document sometimes.
Absolutely.
Maybe,
supply and demand.
Yeah.
Is there a demand, and is there no supply? Then it might be a nice little niche business. Niche. I never know how to pronounce that word. Niche sounds so classy.
I use niche. I like
niche.
Yeah. And I'm going to turn your attention now from the market analysis onto organization, Coach.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You like A teams. I've heard you say that on many occasions.
The VCs and the angels will tell you, I will bet on a Class A team, even if it's a Class B idea, because they're going to take this thing and develop it and pivot when they have to and make a success of it, rather than bet on a Class B team that's got a Class A idea. They may goof it up as things go along. Things change as you go through a market because the market's dynamic. And so people want to know you've got the expertise, you've got all the right skills, you've got somebody that understands marketing, it could be you, understands the financial piece, has the passion. Everybody that's involved should have the passion for doing it, as we say all the time. And do you have any experience in this business? Have you done this before? This is what angels and investors are looking for, that, hey, this person's taken 3 companies, started them, made a success of them, even made one not a success, probably learned more in that failure than he did in the successes, and survived it and continues to move on.
Balancing skills.
Yep.
You're an engineer, you're a marketing guy, you're a finance guy, you're a
organizational guy, human resource guy, people guy.
But you've got others
Yep.
who
Right.
can fill in the blanks.
Yep.
And their competence, the resources, the passion.
The team.
The passion to
Who's the
stick with
team?
it.
Yeah. I mean, micro businesses, small one-person team, they have to figure out, how am I going to handle all these other things? If somebody comes to me and says, got a great idea for a business, I don't like selling and I don't like people. Really? Okay, keep your day job. Because somebody's got to take care of creating customers, and somebody has to take care of hiring and managing people. I mean, if you want to be a solopreneur, there's only 2,000 hours a year that if you're lucky, you bill 500 to 1,000 of them. I mean, if you can live with that, good, then you do that, but not everybody can.
Also, Coach, look at what's called resource sufficiency. Do you have sufficient resource? Are you thinking about sufficient resources ahead of time to make this successful? Talk to
Are
us
you
about that.
thinking? You better be thinking about it. Yeah, you better be looking at, what do I need? Like I said in the first show, I need to list out. I need 1,000 square feet of office space, or I need this equipment to do it. I need this much in raw materials or inventory. I need a few key people. Maybe they can come on board after 2 months. I can get this thing started, but eventually at this point, I'm going to need to hire a marketing person, salesperson, inventory control. I may outsource some non-critical things like payroll. Outsource the darn thing. Don't handle it. I've got some intellectual property here that I've got a patent, or I've got a secret here that I'm taking along the way. What resources do you need to make a success of this business, and how long do you need them, and when do you need the new resources to kick in?
I know I'm smiling at you because how many people who are thinking of getting into a business who would look at this whole list and say, "Whoa, that's complicated, man."
Sure is. It may be complicated, but it's better than blowing $100,000 or your last savings and signing your credit cards over and then saying, "I need money." No, you need a business is what you need. It's a lot better than that.
And okay, Coach, here comes the dollar bills, or dollar signs.
Yep.
I'm going to throw that at you. This is financial feasibility.
Right.
Let's talk about that. This is the mother's milk of entrepreneurship.
What was it? Saddam was the mother of all wars. This is the mother of all. It's always about money.
Right.
I do seminars for Southeastern Economic Development. I've been doing them for over 15 years. And in the first half, we talk about the feasibility analysis, and we talk about marketing, and we talk about your product, and then we give them a free lunch. And might have 20 people in the morning session, and the afternoon session I do is all about the money, all about financial viability. It's amazing how many people will leave right after lunch and say, "Well, no, I'm not interested. I've got my idea I want to do," and that's okay. But at some point, you better understand the financial feasibility of the thing. How much money do you need to start this business? I mean, what kind of borrowing power do you have, and when would that borrowing have to kick in? This is all part of the industry analysis, the market analysis, market research. But step one is to put down, what do I need to get this business open or started? I mean, if you're buying a business, the guy wants $100,000 for the business. We've agreed to $100,000. I need that $100,000, but what else will I need? I may need to replace some inventory. I may need some cash, I would hope, to get the thing up and running. I mean, you really need to take a look at the startup costs and the continuing costs to grow the business. I mean, cash flow. I've talked about that so much. If you got a growing business, it's probably going to eat cash. Where are you going to get the future cash? I ran into that, which I've talked about on other shows, where, I bought a business doing $1.3 million. I projected that I would do $1.8 million, so I had that covered. I didn't cover the fact that my first year in business, I did $2.4 million. I was broke. Yeah. I didn't have any money, but I made great profit, but I didn't have any cash to do it. Yeah. I had to hustle to get the cash to continue to grow that business to over $20 million. But if I hadn't done that, I never would have been able to do that.
Right. Borrowing power, you better know that you have the financial background to get to borrow or get money.
Well, you better understand what is your credit rating, because nobody wants to loan money to you if you just went bankrupt 2 years ago, or you don't have, say, a 750 or higher, or 700 or whatever. Different banks are different, and certainly community development organizations like Southeastern Economic Development or Coastal Community Capital, they have a little bit lower range, but still it's got to be probably 670 or 700. What is your credit rating? How much cash do you have that you can put into the deal? Nobody is going to give you 100% to start a business. At the most, maybe 75, tops 80, percent. So if you figure it's going to cost, you've done all your due diligence, you got your whole list together, and you say, well, I need $100,000 to start this business. If you don't have $25,000, $30,000 to put into the deal, and if you're not committed to putting in enough cash yourself and the thing's going to cash flow properly, nobody's going to lend you 100%.
So it all comes down to this, Coach. Here we are. We've gone through the product market, the
Product analysis,
product
market
service,
analysis.
the market, the
Right.
attractiveness, the
Financial,
organization,
marketing,
financial.
organiz-
Here we are, Coach. It's go, no go.
It's go, no go. It's still looking good. We have 4 check marks.
Right.
We either know that we can cover it or how we're going to cover those areas. 3/4 of a check mark isn't good enough. We're going to go with a full issue and yes, this is now a go, then go for it.
Growth the first 5 to 7 years. In fact, that idea, we talked about the mortality rate, on new business
Yeah,
startups
it's
is
big.
terrible, like 60 to 70% over the first 5
Yeah,
years.
it depends on exactly what the construct is, but if you're doing the due diligence, you're doing it up front, that viability certainly drops. The failure rate certainly drops.
And part of that was actually one of your favorite topics. You have many favorite topics.
I got a lot of them.
One
yeah.
is are repeat customers involved?
Yeah, it's nice to have do the marketing once and have repeat customers. It costs 7 times, 10 times as much to find a new customer as to get a customer to come back with you.
Right. And the exit opportunity to sell out or have somebody take over.
Well, that's a huge issue today because the boomers are coming of age. They're in their 60s and this is what they're looking now to cash out, and their business is probably a big part of their retirement plan.
Yeah.
So if they don't have their business ready to sell, which is another opportunity for people to get into a business, is to buy an existing business. What is the exit strategy for this business?
Well, Coach, thank you. This is the episode 2 of 2 episodes on the feasibility analysis of a new idea up front, and be tough on yourself. And this again is you've been watching the Fox Robbins Business Show. This episode, along with all other past episodes, will be on YouTube, a library in YouTube, and just go to YouTube at the search box, put in one single word, Fox Robbins, FOXROBBINS, Fox Robbins, and go to the library and pick out topics that would be of interest to you, timely and interesting, and look at them. And we will see you guys next time.